Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nabilah binti Narasham and my student ID is 2020955293 and I am from group 2C. Okay, I will present about my part, which is introduction to TN50. Alright, Transformasi Nasional 15 or the short form is TN50. This TN15 has been created by and established by the government is to show the initiative of government to drive the future to develop this Malaysia. This initiative is to purpose to cover the year 2020 until 2015 with the aim of making that Malaysia listed on the top 20 country in the world. This TN15 was launched on 19 January 2017 by the Prime Minister Datuk Seri Najib bin Haji Abdul Razak at University Malaya. TN15 is to show that Malaysia also have the people who have excellent thinking, and TN15 was mobilized with the Ministry of Young and Sport, or another name for this is KBS. The government has held a dialogue season with Malaysian youth since the beginning of 2017. Young people also play their role in this TN15 to achieve the aims. TN15 is also aims to provide adequate housing as well as to ensure suitable and green development in Malaysia. By launching the TN15 also have the risk. By the risk has been identified and in evidence by the government, and the government is prepared to face the challenges ahead.
TN50 problem, change and continuity. Professor Wu Wintier, President of JCI and Director of JSC, opened the event with the reminder that TN50 is not the first groundbreaking program of the Datuk Seri Najib administration to reform the Malaysia economy. Earlier efforts at reform included policy strategies such as the New Economy Model and the Bumi Putra Economy Empowerment Program and establishment of new state agency such as Performance Management and Delivery Unit Pemandu to supplement the efforts of the Implementation Coordination Unit ICU in the Prime Minister's Department. TN50 is another new, bold, ambitious and comprehensive revamping of policies. The goal of TN50 is to make Malaysia one of the top 20 countries in the world, said Professor Wu. Next, Johan Mahmud Merican, Deputy General Human Capital and Head of the TN50 Special Unit at EPU, started off his presentation by putting forward the notion that Malaysia had been very successful over the years despite having faced some major challenge. Malaysia had done well in reaching the goal of past development plans such as the New Economy Policies vision of eliminating poverty and diminishing the correlation between race and economic function, and the Vision 2020 goal of achieving development nation status. Notable achievements include the elimination of absolute poverty, reduced income inequality, reduced interracial differences, and an increase in Malaysia's global competitiveness. Several challenges, however, still remain. Relative poverty still persists, while inequality remain high, and social well-being is lagging. In order to address this challenge and propel the country towards becoming a top 20 nation by 2050, Johan emphasized the importance of continuing Malaysia's tradition of long-term economic and national planning. Next, hardware and software. In his closing remarks, Professor Wu said he looked forward for the delivery of the vision promised in TN50 as there has not yet been announcement of the policy mechanism to translate the TN50 vision into reality. Professor Wu volunteered the expert service of the Jeffrey Chia Institute and therefore the Jeffrey Sachs Center of the EPU to help within the design of the policy mechanism to supply the outcomes encountered in TN50. Drawing on his experience on advertising centrally planned economy to transition to dynamic market economies, Professor Wu outlined the crux of the problem as being first, getting the big picture right, and second, getting the details right. Getting the big picture right is akin to understanding that one cannot get to the moon in a sailboat, but only in a space vehicle. Getting the details right means using the best hardware and software available in constructing the spaceship. In the case of Russia and China, getting the right big picture means not having leaders who, for ideological reasons or out of ignorance, are against the employment of the right hardware and the right software. For example, the goal of economic prosperity cannot be achieved by Stalinist leaders who are opposed to the use of market mechanism in resource allocation and to private ownership of capital. Professor Wu agreed that the TN50 vision is a good objective. He is concerned, however, that the existing hardware and software may not be effective. He elaborated that the key hardware component is a dynamic private sector that is not hobbled by government-linked companies. Lastly, the key software component may be a good governance system requires public oversight through free and fair election, an independent and competent judiciary body, and a competitive public process. In keeping with Professor Wu, the thanks to achieve TN50 may be a dynamic private sector working partnership with a competent government that's committed to producing socially inclusive and economically innovative outcomes that are environmentally friendly.
Okay, now is the objective of TN15. Alright, the purpose of the government in conveying this objective of to the original community is to give and ensure more understanding is given to them in what is TN15. Government hopes that the indigenous people understand and can appreciate this TN15. The government has tried to create a community talk program or another name is KKLW. This indigenous community talk program is to closely relate to the country's economic activities, infrastructure, environment, social indigenous community, and so on by 2015. Target of this TN15 is the first is to drive the country future from 2020 to 2015. Is to ensure that Malaysia is equally competitive in the development of various aspects in terms of technology or the like. Then is to ensure that the state of economy in Malaysia is managed to reach RM2 trillion in the stipulated year. And if this target is achieved, then the people will also feel the pleasure. The Malaysian also needs to be listed in 8 countries that have great power in influencing the world economy. Malaysia is the aim to start in exporting the local product such as about natural rubber, palm oil, and timber. And the total demand is estimate RM330 billion until by the 2020 and For production to exploit the market, it is 67% of global demand and amounting to RM 220 billion. Malaysian also, don't forget the exacting race in Malaysia. As we know, Malaysia has people of various races such as Malay, Cina, and Indian. The last target is to eradicate racial poverty, which means is to ensure that all citizens in Malaysia have their own house or another necessity. This is important because to ensure that no people are still homeless. The government help their people for builds the affordable housing such as PPR house, or another name for PPR house is Program Perumahan Rakyat. This is the government initiative to ensure that all the citizens can have their own house in affordable price that everyone can have. That's all for me. Now I will give to the next presenter.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Atarunisha binti Muhammad Amin. My matric number is 2020-990-367 and my point is actors in the creation of TN50. More than 300 key figures from the entertainment industry shared their aspirations with Datuk Sri Najib on their expectations for the nation's come 2050. Hosts included producer Datuk Yusof Haslam, evergreen singer Datuk DJ Dave, actor Datuk Roshamno, local TV personality Datuk Aznil, as well as comedians Harith Iskandar and Aziza Razak. The Prime Minister's wife Datin Sri Rosma Mansor and Communications and Multimedia Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Saleh Sekhruak were also present. Najib said the audience members, which is made up of a more diverse group, comprises not only cabinet ministers, members of the administrations as well as senior government officials, but also sees the presence of all 14 Barisan Nasional component party leaders. Government-linked companies, representative the private sector as well as all levels of the rakyat. Indeed, what I am to talk is about the affairs which are directly linked to the interests of all as stakeholders of the nations. He said in his opening speech as the tabling of NTP 2016, Najib said that the government is undertaking for the benefit of all nations irrespective of their race or ethnic. And that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today I want to discuss about implementation TN50 plan. Okay, TN50 is National Transformation Former Malaysia. 6th Prime Minister Najib Razak introduced TN50 for the period 2020 to 2050 by providing efforts and targets to change from developed countries to the top 20 countries in the world in economic development, people's well-being and innovation. It triggered a national transformation movement to form a truly authoritative and minded nation-state. Feeling this transformation needs to be done by Malaysians, the process of urbanization and the emergence of cities with a population of more than 10 million people also brought about a change in the role of individuals, communities, genders and institutions. TN50's efforts to transform the country into a high-income country depend heavily on tax collection, investment, and external loans to create new jobs, new industries, and the constructions of new infrastructure for rural areas and so on. Okay, next, I want to discuss the objective of TN50 is also lead to an era of convergence that prioritize high-tech empowerment along with the 4.0 revolution. While this effort can be seen as an integration site to strengthen the ties of multiracial society, but technological advances have also resulted in the debate that people are too lazy and busy with technology so that they are less interacting with each other and more comfortable with virtual partners. Furthermore, the goal of creating a low-income country should should not result in a lasting transformation in life. This is because the meaning of harmony and well-being of life is different. Adopt a moderate lifestyle that is free from the stress of life, such as expensive living stress, traffic congestion, pollution, and so on. Assessing quality of life should be multidimensional and not tied to household income and property ownership only, but also measure quality of life, such as facilities to get fresh, cheap, and quality food, free and safe to move and do daily activities, cheap and quality health facilities, and so on. In addition, the implementation of the TN50 strategy is to increase awareness about TN50 with their respective target groups through future-oriented activities. For example, TN50 aspiration videos, recycling programs, plenty sampling, and competition with school students. The second strategy is to disseminate information and collect TN50 input through sessions involving management of interviews with their respective target groups other than youth. For example, primary school students, firefighters, doctors, nurses, scientists, teachers, elder settlers, women, and the elderly. The third strategy is to collect input from the target group and submit the input to a special TN50 unit for the preparation of TN50 documents. For example, ministry frameworks, website feedback, and research papers. Okay, moreover, the Malaysian economy has made great strides since independence, show through the encouraging growth driven by a series of structural reforms that began in the 2970s as the implementation of the new economic policy NEP, which began in 1971, is a turning point in the history of the Malaysian economy. The main goal of the NEP is to create national unity achieved through poverty eradication and social restoration. In 1991, the country introduced Vision 2020 to continue its journey to achieve the status of a developed and high-income country by 2020, shaped according to its own mode. To expedite the process, the government introduced the National Transformation Policy in 2010. Okay, thank you. That's all for me.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Natasha binti Jantan. I'm from N1102C and my metric number is 2020973415. So for today, I'm going to present my group's assignment topic, which is TN50. So today, I'm going to present about the evaluation on the effectiveness of TN50. We know that our 7th Prime Minister, Dr. Sri Muhammad Najib Tun Abdul Razak, has launched TN50 on 19 January 2017. It is the national transformation that to be the beginning of the hopes of the people of Malaysia, because it fulfills in terms of economic, in terms of social, in terms of cultural, environmental, and technological aspects. So basically, Datuk Sri Muhammad Najib Tun Abdul Razak wants the improvement that he will make in other 30 years from the date of the TN50 launch. As you can see in my slides, the implementation of the transformation is focused for a period of 30 years, and he assumes such aspirations must be achieved within 2020 until 2050. So he just expect that this transformation will achieve the target on 2050, which is the young generation youth can have a better life with government. Moreover, TN50 is a continuation in the direction of Wawasan 2020 that introduced by our 4th Prime Minister and our 8th Prime Minister, Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad. Dato' Sri Muhammad Najib Tun Abdul Razak said that this TN50 is preparing future for the next generation. And obviously, this TN50 is not just an agenda needed to improve the social sectors in our country. In fact, it is also have a big impact on future of next generation. The other effectiveness of TN50 discussed in the idea that emphasize the views of the people, which this new vision should come from the rakyat, which is these views of TN50 should come from rakyat. Rakyat will decide what is this, what is that, and to be together improve our country, improve our government in order to provide a better service for people. He also says that the government should listen to the opinions of the people in an effort to improve various aspects throughout 2020 until 2050. Rakyat have a power to voice their opinion. In addition, if we wanted to have a better quality of education, we need to improve our education system through syllabus, teaching and learning process in universities, colleges and schools to meet the taste of effective learning to young people who wants a variety for the field of they explore to meet future job market criteria in our country. It explains that young generation nowadays is difficult to find a suitable job for their course that they graduate in their universities. In other slides, Dr. Sri Muhammad Najib also wants Malaysia to be a top 20 nation in the world, and he hopes that all of this we will be able to achieve together through TN50. He have high expectation of this national transformation 50. TN50 gives the people an advantage in providing insights to create their future, the future of their children and their next generation, to lead this country so that in the next 30 years, Malaysia has strength in various world-class fields. Malaysia will not be downgraded with other countries. Besides, Malaysia can stand as a developed country because of the power of TN50, which is the voice of people, the views from people. In terms of recommendation, Dato' Sri Muhammad Najib Tun Abdul Razak, through his National Transformation Plan, he said that we will gather the aspirations of our country's youth in accordance with the main objective of this plan, which is put the youth ahead to continue developing our country. This is because the main purpose of this TN50 is to take the views of the people on the steps that can be taken by the government in improving in various things in terms of social aspects as well. Moreover, when we talk about economic aspects, of course, we want a rapidly evolving economic structure every year. And Dato' Sri Muhammad Najib Tun Abdul Razak also explained that the digital economy, to give an idea about the digital economy, will be needed so that nothing is left behind with the digital era in the future. If we want a double-digit growth, the only sector can bring it up is the digital sector, because it is wide sector that can give a lot of profit. Next, in terms of education, students wanted a quality education. So, students want our education to be globally recognized, and we need a sound education system. Students can take skills training in small and medium industries development, or we call it as IKS, Industri Kecil dan Sederhana, to reform their skills under the Ministry of Entrepreneur Development and Cooperation, MEDAC, plantation, and they can improve their skill in aquaculture. So students can develop fisheries and raw materials industry, as well as many more programs that will be introduced by this TN50. In plan of national transformation, also take care about rural areas, especially development in the rural sector. Government would provide a digital connectivity, productivity, technology. Beside in agriculture, for example, how to make our farms to be more productive. Datuk Seri Muhammad Najib Tun Abdul Razak want our development must be balanced, and our development must be on the basis so no Malaysia would left behind. Therefore, over the next 30 years, rural and urban areas have become comparable in developing their areas. At the same time, it will prove that this national transformation, or TN50, will bring a lot of improvements as planned from now on. That's all for my presentation regarding to the subtopic of national transformation, which is an evaluation on the effectiveness of TN50 along with the recommendation. Thank you.
In conclusion, the younger generation must demonstrate comprehensive participation in the framework of integration of intellectual and spiritual dimensions to define the leadership role of the younger generation. This is because they are now given the stage to speak out in planning the future of the country with the government. The views of the younger generation are important because they have their own paradigm in something which is very important for the government to take into account in preparing the future of the country, thus making TN50 the vision of the people themselves. I hope this TN50 can be more developed again in the future.